Welcome back to the World Series, and let's take a look at the Capital One starting lineups for the Texas Longhorns at 43-19-1 on the season. An at-large third-place finish in the Big 12 this year, one of the 3 Big 12 teams that have made it here. And they are led by Janae Jefferson, the all-time hits leader in Big 12 history, making her 263rd start in the Burnt Orange today. The Longhorns, one of the 3 unseeded teams that pulled off upsets to get here. Your Capital One starting lineup for the Horns, and they will face the Pac-12 Pitcher of the Year, Megan Faremo, in the circle for the Bruins, an at-large out of the Pac-12 conference, seeking a 13th NCAA championship.
Megan Faremo's just been outstanding. Look at the base on balls to strike out. I mean, she is a power pitcher. She just has the ability to control games. That is the reason that she is the Pac-12 Pitcher of the Year, looking to do some damage here in Oklahoma City. Look at the way she gets down in her pre-motion to be explosive. She uses a rise ball that she'll bend up underneath the hands of righties, curveball away. She loves to hit that outside corner, and when she is on the edges, she is lights out. Again, just 34 walks on the year to 278 strikeouts.
For Texas, their first trip back here to the Women's College World Series since 2013. That means it's their first trip with head coach Mike White, who does have experience here, came with the Oregon Ducks 5 times. Usually they were one of the favorites, so they are embracing the underdog role a bit this time around. And Kelly Inoue-Perez, how about 35 years at UCLA? She's been a Bruin for parts of 5 different decades, guys, and has won a national championship, player, assistant coach, and twice as a head coach in Westwood. Their most recent title coming in 2019 when they beat the Oklahoma Sooners to win the title.
Leading off for Texas, second baseman, number 2, Janae Jefferson.
And Jefferson will step in and try and get things going for Texas. 3 times a national semifinalist. Not yet a trip to the Champ Series. Of course, a couple of those were under the legendary pitcher Cat Osterman. And the senior from Humboldt, Texas, takes a look at strike 1.
And how's that for respect? Immediately start her off with a changeup and come right up underneath her hands.
Yeah, no, Janae Jefferson, too, is that hitter. Talk about how many she's had over the course of her career. That .431 batting average. She can hit any pitch, so it's about the sequencing for Megan Faremo to be able to get her out.
Faremo ahead in the count, 0-2, and she'll waste one upstairs. These 2 sides did see each other back in the St. Pete Clearwater Elite Invitational in February. A win for UCLA in a tight contest. But of course, both sides were in a much different place then. Texas was still trying to find its identity. UCLA still had star Aaliyah Jordan in the lineup. And then she was lost for the season with an ACL injury. We were with this Texas side, Jess, for their upset of Arkansas in the Super Regionals, and we had a good time with Janae talking about how far back into the box she gets and how close to that line she gets inside.
Look at her toes. And that front toe will be, that's why it's already marked out. She is crowding that plate right now. And we saw it. Megan Faremo came inside with a second pitch. Everything else has been either up or away. And Janae Jefferson, because she doesn't have a huge stride, she's got incredibly quick hands. She trusts she can get to the inside pitch. That's why she's able to crowd her so much.
Has worked the count full here from 0-2 and then swipes one out to center, and back goes Brady. Came in initially and then back for the catch, 1 down.
Now batting third baseman, number 10, Mia Scott.
The third baseman, Mia Scott, all Big 12 freshman team this year. She's batting .333 so far in this NCAA tournament. After Texas had to go on the road in the regionals to beat Washington and then the 4-seed Arkansas in the Supers. As Scott lays down the bunt, bare hand firing the first is Tessa Malaulu, but Scott legs it out. And here's where the Longhorns can be troublesome. They have utilized their speed effectively all season on the bases.
Well, this is where she does a great job of using the ground. A lot of times you try to deaden the ball, but in this case, being able to use that high hop to buy her more time, which is exactly why the bare hand had to come into play. You're starting to see the speed of Texas. Scott, her 8th bunt base hit of the season.
Alyssa Washington. With the presidential top of the order here, Jefferson and Washington. Side by side in the middle of that infield as well. Alyssa was fabulous in that Super Regional. Went 5 for 9 at the plate. Came inside and hit her back. She was also a key to their defensive turnaround, Michelle. It's been a team that basically, if they commit errors, they lose. If they play clean defense, they win. And her taking over at short alongside Janae was big in that department.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been so strong up the middle. This is a Texas team with 71 errors on the year. When they play a clean game, they are a completely different team.
Popped up, drifting back onto the grass to make the catch is Bree Perez, one of the top shortstops in the country. 2 down. That'll bring up Mary Iacopo in the cleanup spot. Mary has a hit in 12 of her last 13 games. And over that stretch, hit 400 with 14 RBI. And finds that 5-6 hole. A couple aboard with 2 outs. Scott trying to leg it down to third and slides in safely, and Mary will advance to second. So now 2 in scoring position.
This is a Texas team that is very aggressive. I love the way that Mia Scott base hit through the 5-6 hole. Mia Scott immediately sees the little bobble. That's it. That's all it takes. Scott immediately going to pick that extra 60 feet up hard into third. That's going to allow Mary Iacopo to also head it.
But watch how she's base running. She's thinking third base all the way. She's got herself opened up. She's not looking at her coach. She's looking at the ball. That's why she can react immediately. That's given an error to the left fielder, Kelly Gooden.
So a single and then an E7. How close was this at third? Ooh. Oh,
that looks like they got her.
yes, a new addition this year. The coaches have 2 challenges and can go to a video review booth. UCLA opted not to use it there. Katie Simmons. And immediately Texas with a chance to break through. Katie hit a home run in the Super Regional last weekend. We had some fun yesterday with Mike White when we were filling in our lineup cards. We said, Coach, we usually only fill in 1 through 4 because the rest of the lineup is a mystery. And Mike started laughing and he took out his scorebook and said, me too. We figure it out pregame. And it's Simmons that will try and protect Iacopo today. It's been an all hands on deck postseason for Texas, and they have worked it well.
See Bella Dayton behind her, Alyssa Washington.
And a lot of it has to do with matchups, who hits the rise ball versus the drop ball.
All behind the arm of Haley Dolcini, who will get the start today, looking for the lead, and Faremo will not give it to them. First strikeout from Megan strands a pair.
Well, Megan Faremo working that changeup effectively in this first inning, but it's the rise ball in a pressure situation. A big strikeout leaves the horns on the bases. Bruins picking up the bats.
Bottom of the first inning, the first of our 4 games on this opening day at the Women's College World Series. The UCLA Bruins are coming up, so let's check out their starting lineup, brought to you by Capital One. The balanced Bruins, 5 players that have hit better than 300 on the season. They led the Pac-12 with the best batting average. And take your pick here of who the breakout star is this season. We decided Delaney Wiz, who's batting .500 with 12 RBI.
That's pretty
so
good.
far in the NCAA tournament. Not a bad swinger. She will hit 3rd behind Washington and Perez, and they will face the senior transfer Haley Dolcini out of Ferndale, California.
Haley Dolcini, that 2.16 ERA. She's got one of the best screwballs that you will see in the game. Just started throwing a changeup, heck, 2 weeks ago. Broke it out. Last time she threw it was when she was 8 years old, but Mike White wanted something off speed.
3-2 in this postseason. A real heroic effort out of her with an arm, with some arm problems in that super regional, where she threw over 500 pitches. And then Sophia Simpson, a gem in game 3, the freshman, helped get the seniors here for a shot. And this is Kinsley Washington stepping in, the hero of the 2019 National Championship, the senior out of Whittier, California, who is a Bruin legacy. Her dad played football at UCLA. Those are the best numbers of her career, 355 on the season. They have a handful of players that are still around from that championship team, so Kinsley, her 35th NCAA tournament game today, on their 7th consecutive trip here to Oklahoma City, and Dolcini will start it out with the strikeout.
And that's going to be the pitch, the screwball. In fact, 210 strikeouts, 3/4 of them have been on this pitch. Away to lefties like we just saw, the way that it bends late, and it's almost like a scrides. It'll go up and into right-handed batters. The best screwball that you will see, not only here at the Women's College World Series, but in the game. Because of that bend she's able to get with her body positioning and her arm.
First pitch swinging and into the gap out in left center for Bree Perez. An extra base hit for the Bruin that just passed Stacy Newman into the #2 spot all time in career hits.
Talk about hunting a pitch. I mean, she was waiting for this screwball. She gets on top of it. I love that Bree Perez actually steps towards it, gets close and able to meet it, find the gap. One of the best hitters in this lineup does it first pitch, standing on second base.
Bree told us yesterday she's aggressive. She doesn't like to let strikes go by, and she didn't let one go by there. And Jefferson just out of her reach. Perez coming for home, the throw to the plate, and the tag in time. Woo! To prevent the runner to score as Perez is out at the plate.
Boy, and both these offenses know that pitches are at a premium. All hits on first pitch swinging. Dumps this ball, whiz onto the outfield. I love the fact they're going to push it. Bree Perez coming home, but look at Mary Ikopo. Look at where she catches it and then tags. She gets the hand before it hits home plate. What an outstanding block of the hand with the glove for Mary Ikopo.
That was brave sending her there. I was surprised, to be honest. Kirk Walker was waving her all the way.
Wiz with the base hit was able to advance to second, so still a runner in scoring position here for Maya Brady, but a big time throw. Bella Dayton to the plate. Ikopo with the tag. Maya, the sophomore from Thousand Oaks, she's got a hit in 10 of her last 11 games.
Yeah, .469 batting average the last 10 games. That's when this whole lineup really has gone on a run. Passing the bat, playing their best offense literally the last 2 weeks when it matters the most. Maya Brady talked yesterday about being more aggressive. That's been kind of the switch for her. Struggled a little bit during the regular season.
On every hit in this game has been first pitch swinging, so these hitters are smart. They know that you're probably going to see your best pitch early on.
Big time recruit coming out of high school. Mom, a fantastic softball player. Maureen back in her day.
Fresno State pitcher.
First team All-American last year. Brady, deep fly ball to left. Burke coming back in to make the catch. Bruins had a chance, but the Texas D coming up big.
Bella Dayton showing it off early from center field. Your classic 8-2 throw them out kept UCLA off the board. The Longhorns pick up the bats.
The NCAA Women's College World Series is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Well, last year's Women's College World Series was agonizing for UCLA pitcher Megan Faremo. A hand injury suffered off the field left her at home watching her team on TV. She said, "It's the lowest point of my life. I felt like I'd let everyone down." And in that moment, she decided either I was going to get my life together or fall apart completely. She got it together and has come back with an unbelievable season. 22 wins in the circle, dominant at times, the Pac-12 Pitcher of the Year. And how she did it was to get her mind right, reading the Mamba Mentality book by Kobe Bryant, getting her body right, 3 workouts a day to lose weight and get strong. And she has come back more fierce than ever, and she has earned the trust of all of her teammates. They love her fire, her passion in the circle. What a true story of redemption for Megan Faremo.
Yeah, big time recruit, Holly, coming out of Vista, California. She was the 2 in the 1-2 punch last year with Rachel Garcia, the 2-time Player of the Year. The Bruins have never spoken publicly about what happened, but it happened late at night after their Super Regional win before the Women's College World Series ago. They only call it an injury for a personal reason. But obviously it was something that Megan felt very bad about and had to kind of, work back, figure out that chemistry again with the team as they moved on, and she had to watch. Facing 6, 7, 8 in the lineup here, and coming on to make the catch is Kelly Gooden. But Jess, I think first and foremost, her teammates saw the change in her body. The change in her approach has been remarkable.
It was cool to see all of them in the room with her. And we're talking through Megan last year. You see the emotion that she has, and all of them separately said no one works harder, no one fights harder for our team. I mean, they had her back, and a big part of it was because from that moment on, she got in the weight room. She got right, and now she's been their leader.
She did appear in the 2019 World Series, but this is the first time back here as the ace. And there is Rachel Garcia in the crowd. One of just a handful of 2-time National Players of the Year. Busy for Kelly Gooden so far, 2 down. We will see the most recent back-to-back National Player of the Year, Jocelyn Allo, and the #1 seed Oklahoma Sooners coming up next against Northwestern, champions of the Big Ten. Back here for the first time since 2007.
JJ Smith.
JJ Smith gets the start at first base, the sophomore out of Rosenberg, Texas.
She's been in and out of the lineup for the Texas Longhorns, and Mike White put her in for a game last weekend in the Super Regionals for a bigger bat. You mentioned it, he kind of mixes and matches this part of the lineup depending on who they're facing. He likes her against up pitches, especially the rise ball of Faremo.
Yeah, and she's been very good defensively at first base, just 1 error on the year, and that's also a part of his reasoning of mixing his players around, trying to get the offense, but also trying to keep as strong as defense out on that field behind Dolcini.
Longhorns have put together the impressive resume despite a bit of a roller coaster ride. They were really bad early in the season. Their words, not ours. But then got things together, found a rhythm, had a nice 16-game win streak during the middle of the year. And finished on the heels of Oklahoma and Oklahoma State in the Big 12. They are one of the 2 teams, along with the Pokes, that have a win over OU this season. So, as Mike White told us yesterday, we can beat the best, but we can also beat ourselves. We have to do the former and not the latter.
Yeah, and he has said, good teams feast on mistakes. He's like, when we play mistake-free, when we get our timely hits, we're right up there.
In for a strike on the off speed.
Well, and I find that interesting that when Faremo needs a strike, she's that confident to throw that off speed. It's a little elevated, but that is a pitch that is a knee buckler, especially when you throw it in concession with that rise ball that's so dominating in the top half of the zone.
Smith pulls that. Backhanded by Kinsley Washington, and a 1-2-3 top of the second here from Hall of Fame Stadium at OKC. Now the action does indeed continue all day long as we check out our bracket update, brought to you by Enterprise. Oklahoma Northwestern on deck. And then the doubleheader tonight, the 2-time national champion Florida Gators taking on Oregon State. And the 8-time champs Arizona coming back here unseeded to take on Oklahoma State, the Pokes. And the Beavs looking for their first national championships here this weekend. Oh yeah, there's going to be a little Sooner Nation in the house. Now 45 minutes north of Norman. Texas could drive. Oklahoma State could drive. There's a little local flavor here for sure. 5, 6, and 7 for UCLA. Here's Alyssa Garcia. Bruins have had to overcome injuries all season long to some key players. Garcia missed about 20 games this year with a multitude of issues, but they have a good platoon going on behind the plate, and Garcia and Delaney Wiz. Washington's got it at short, 1 down.
We talked about Dolcini's screwball. Seen a lot of it already early. Kirk Walker, their base coach for UCLA, went to practice earlier this week, and he was just throwing that pitch. He played in the men's fast pitch game for a long time. That's all he was throwing. He was yelling at him, okay, this is what you're going to see. I am only throwing you screwballs. You know it's coming. So if you're not adjusting, get out of the batter's box. I mean, he was all over them, but being able to replicate her screwball.
Well, I think UCLA knows the damage that a screwball pitcher can do. They've had one of their best of their own, Megan Langenfeld.
The screwball that won the 2010 national championship.
Exactly.
Savannah Pola stepping in to face Haley Dolcini. By the way, if you're wondering, yes, Kirk is always that aggressive in the third base coach's box, because if you rewind to that last inning, if he had held Bree Perez, Maya Brady's fly ball would have been a sac fly for a 1-0 lead, but he sent her. Perez got thrown out at the plate by Bella Dayton. Roller to first, J.J. Smith. 2 down. What you got for us, Holly Rowe?
Well, Haley Dolcini, the Texas pitcher, has had a heavy workload in this postseason. She actually didn't pitch in Game 3 of the Super Regionals after some tightness deep in her bicep muscle. She said she's had an elbow surgery for ulnar decompression, and that has just caused her some arm issues. Her fingers swell up at times, but she is getting great care from their athletic training staff. She said she would be ready to go, and she told us last week, you're going to have to drag me off this field.
I love that, Holly. And yeah, your ulnar nerve innervates your pinky and half of your ring finger. So when that starts to go numb, you lose the ability to feel the ball in your hand as a pitcher. I've experienced that before. It can be very difficult. So that surgery helps release that pressure on that ulnar nerve.
There's only room for one word snob in this booth, Smitty. That would be me. So if you could help me out with innervate, what is that?
It's your nerve, so that's what controls, basically, gives you the feels of
Okay.
Yes.
In nerve.
Okay.
Yes, correct. Wow, the doctor of letters asked me a question about
I'm
a
hurt.
word.
I'm hurt. One thing that helps with that innervation is a quick 1-2-3 inning, which is what Dolcini is looking
He's going to
to
drop it 10 more times this game. New word.
Got to add that to my lexicon. 3-0. And the walk to Anna Vines.
Well, interesting in this inning, both Garcia and Savipola started out 2-0 and now a 3-0 walk, so working from behind.
Came in from Fresno State, where she was the Mountain West Pitcher of the Year. Led the country in strikeouts last year. She actually started out at UC Riverside. This is her third stop, and of course this is the goal from day one, to get to the World Series.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, Beth, because she had to graduate from Fresno State this fall, so she didn't transfer into Texas until January. So her first time with this team, and you know, we sat down with all of them yesterday. Of course, we had them last weekend, but they talked about immediately, okay, team dinners. We're hanging out with Haley every single day to really incorporate her quickly into this team. They immediately noticed her competitiveness. She talked about kind of how she wants to battle. She came to Texas to get to Oklahoma City, win games, and they knew she'd be a fit, but that's quick, Smitty, in January.
Hey, the Women's College World Series continues with the Championship Series. Got a new format this year with a day off before the best 2 out of 3 finals. So game 1 will be Wednesday night, 8:30 Eastern on ESPN. For more, go to NCAA.com, the official online home for all 90 NCAA championships. The winners today traditionally played on a Friday. Now they will not play till Saturday. So tomorrow night becomes elimination games for the 4 losing teams today. The key here is if you win, you get a day off. Win, get another day off. And that can really be beneficial for these pitchers. Slap to second, the flip for the short out. Jefferson to Washington, side retired. No score through 2. Oh, let's take you back to 2003 when these two met in the national semifinals. Kat Osterman to Caitlin Baney, and the game winner to score Natasha Watley. The Bruins had to beat Texas twice that night, and that got them into the national championship game against the Cal Bears, and all Kira Garrell did was spin the only no-hitter in finals history. And they won it in extras, 1-0. And there is Kat. Hey, she's with us today at the Ball Yard. 3-time National Player of the Year and United States Olympian.
Greatest player out of Texas, that's for sure. One of the best pitchers in the game, just retiring. Pitched in the Olympics last year in Tokyo. And I'll tell you what, having a lot of Bruins on that Olympic team, that conversation about 2003, if you wanted to make Kat mad, you just mentioned that year. Because that was one of the more epic comebacks, having to beat anybody twice. But Kat Osterman, one of the greatest pitchers of all time, to come back, beat her. She pitched both of those games, and they did. Kira Garrell, that no-hitter.
In fact, Texas is 0-4 all-time in the World Series against UCLA. Looking to bust through today. Bella Dayton out of the 9 spot. Drills it out to center. And that'll pass the bat to perhaps the second greatest Longhorn of all time, Janae Jefferson.
And take a look at where this pitch is. It is going to show up right over the plate. You can just see that ball is just too close to the zone, and just a great job by Bella Dayton to really drive that ball the opposite way. That's great hitting. And Kat Osterman giving some love to her horns.
Our Holly Rowe will track down Kat at some point today. Stick around for that one. Right here is Jefferson, who lined out to center field her first time up. The only conversation in which you will find Kat more engaged is if you argue who the best strikeout pitcher of all time is, and Monica Abbott has more strikeouts, and Kat's immediate counter is, but my K per 7 was higher.
That's right.
Pitchers.
It's actually the perfect scenario for both of them.
Dayton trying to steal second. She's in safe. And an RBI opportunity for Janae Jefferson, who had 3 home runs during the regular season and already 3 in the postseason. Good swipe by Bella.
Yeah, and it's a screwball on the outside corner, so it's a good pitch for Delaney to throw down on. She's thrown out 8 runners this year, so it'll be interesting to see if Texas continues to run. 17th straight stolen base for Texas this year.
And that means Jefferson will lay down the bunt, and it's gonna score a run for Texas. Putting pressure on the defense.
It's kind of what Texas does. It's the speed. I mean, just putting the ball in play. Janae Jefferson getting down the line quick, so Texas had to be fast. The throw goes up the line. Easy score for Bella Dayton to come home. And I love that Janae Jefferson, after this overthrow, she recognizes no one's at second base. Gets herself on 2, and Texas is on the board.
Scored a sacrifice and an E5. The second error already for this UCLA defense.
UCLA just 39 errors on the year coming in, a 973 fielding percentage, so uncharacteristic. But that's what speed does. Speed never slumps. You know, you put the defense in motion, make them throw on the run.
And we might have our very first video review booth situation in Women's College World Series history. They are going over to put on the headset, and we have a room full of umpires here on site at the video review booth that will be in touch with Keith Kearney, Ron Burkhart, Bubba Ewald, and Leah Bowen, our umpires today. I think they're going to look at whether or not there was some activity at first base.
Well, if she's in the running lane and she is inside, so that's that running lane that the runners are supposed to be in. Now, as long as they're on the chalk, the umpires consider that the running lane.
As long as 1 foot is on the chalk.
And so when the foot hits the bag, she does hit it with her right foot, which is more toward the chalk side.
Well, this would be interesting, because then does the conversation include moving the base runner back to third base? We have a rules analyst on site with us this year, Christy Cornwell. Christy, what are you seeing here? Christy. Oh, we seem to have there she is.
Here we go.
Hey, Christy,
Beth.
what are you seeing on this play?
Well, the batter runner has to be in the running lane, and she cannot interfere with the play at first base. So what the umpires are going to be looking at in review is where her foot is, whether it's in fair territory or on the line in the running lane at the moment she's hit by the ball.
Okay. And would she be then out at first base, and would Bella Dayton have to return to third base?
That is correct. She would be declared out, and runners have to return to the last base touched.
Thank you very much, Christy Cornwell, our rules analyst, who will be with us throughout this Women's College World Series with the new coaches. 2 challenges per game. The umpires can also, starting in the 6th inning, choose to look at video themselves.
So she looks like she's out of the running lane.
I think as long as 1 foot is on the chalk or the foul line, they consider that in the running lane, but that lies the question what they will look at. But you're right, earlier on when her left foot was down, her right foot was up, she looked out of the running lane.
This was a UCLA challenge, and by the way, you only get 2 during the game. Even if you're right with your challenge, you don't get it back. But this is huge, because this could take the run off the board right here for Texas. Well, now we're curious as to whether or not they're looking at something else here. It would appear that she was in the running lane from all the replays that we've seen. Well, now the umpires are off the headsets and just talking amongst themselves here, trying to make sure that everything is correct and in order. And there is a microphone. They'll bring the coaches together. And the word we're getting from the replay review booth is UCLA is going to win this challenge and the run will come off the board. Interference at first base and the look to Bella Dayton to say, get back out there. And we will remain scoreless. Now, where do they put her at second or third? They're going to put her all the way back at second, which is where she started on the play.
Here's what we have. We have interference on the batter runner at first base. The runner that scored, we're going to put her back at second base. Okay?
So now score at 3-U, and the review changes the call and takes the run away. So Dayton out at second with one down for Mia Scott.
Well, and this is also going to bring up conversation again about the safety bag at first, where defenders, runners, everybody's converging on a single.
Because she's running to first base. I mean, honestly, you're trying to beat out a bunt. Like, I'm looking at first base, and I'm not looking at a running lane. And she wasn't far left where I thought it was interference, personally. I thought she was running to the bag.
Well, and remember, the throw was a bad throw. The throw was tailing away from the first baseman in Washington. So that's where it gets complicated. It's a judgment call by the umpires, I think, in that decision.
Safety base would essentially mean you have two first bases, one for the first baseman and one for the runner. It would avoid a lot of collisions and such. Scott gets into one. Deep center field. Back goes Brady. Off the top of the wall. Dayton rounding third, heading for home, and Scott will leg it all the way around for the triple to drive in a run.
And how about Mia Scott coming up, first pitch swinging after a long delay. Megan Faremo standing out, not pitching, and taking a pitch on the outside corner and just gets all into it. It's off the very top of the wall. You're looking at potentially inches from that ball leaving the yard. But it's a triple for Scott, and the Horns are on the board now.
Already 4 hits, a couple of them well struck, and Mia Scott, with her first extra base hit of the postseason, gives the Longhorns the 1-0 lead.
Remember, Mia Scott, she's got 3 home runs on the year. I mean, this is not her game to hit it over outfielders' heads. That's why Maya Brady was so far in. Showing some pop against Faremo.
RBI opportunity for Alyssa Washington. Popped to short her first time up. The infield is drawn in for the Bruins.
Well, and Faremo had been 7 of 10 for first pitch strikes. So Texas, knowing she's hitting the zone early on, we're going to be aggressive. Don't have to worry about that changeup. A lot of times you make that decision, you go up, swinging at that first pitch, hunting it.
Pop back foul. So we've already seen the challenges in the replay review, something new this year. We've been talking about the change in the format that the coaches have fought for a long time. Added a couple of days of softball for you. Champ Series will be next Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And of course, we've also added a couple of games on ABC. Saturday afternoon and Sunday afternoon. The winners of this game and the next one, Oklahoma and Northwestern, will be the first 2 teams to play on ABC at the World Series.
It just sounds cool.
That's awesome. Go softball.
Base hit. And another run comes in. Alyssa Washington scoring Mia Scott. 2-zip. And they are getting to the Pac-12 Pitcher of the Year here early.
There's only been one swing and miss this entire game, and you see the changeup rolling over, but watch Alyssa Washington just get around it. She sees it out of the hand, is able to stay back, drive it through that 5-6 hole. But again, Faraimo's game coming into this is the swing and miss. She has had multiple strikeouts throughout most of the games, especially leading into this, but only the one swing and miss that we've seen so far.
Holly?
Well, guys, the coaches told us yesterday that when Megan Faraimo gets too excited or too amped up, sometimes she'll tend to overthrow and not hit her spot. You see Lisa Fernandez, one of the best pitchers to ever play in the Women's College World Series, go out there, just talk to her. Sometimes she needs to amp herself down a little bit just to be a little bit more accurate.
Yeah, and giving up a hit with 2 strikes, a 1-2 count, that changeup probably needs to be a little slower, a little bit lower outside to make it unhittable.
Here's a look at Lisa along with Kirk Walker. They've been with Kelly Anoy Perez a long time, all inside that Bruin bubble, as they like to call it. Mary Iacopo gets a hold of one. Back it goes! Out of here! 2-run shot! Mary Iacopo, and Texas has busted it open.
Smitty, you've said it. Game plan, communication, coming back to the dugout. Hey, guys, guess what? First pitch, she is attacking the zone. She's continued to do that even after the big hits, and Texas has been ready. Look at the location of this. In on the hands, down in the zone. That's not a bad pitch. That's a great piece of hitting. Mary Iacopo going down to get this one. Send it out of here.
Big smiles for Mary. Career home run number 50. And a big 4-run third inning. And have they chased the ace? Megan Faraimo is passing the ball off to Holly Azevedo. And she will depart with 1 out in the top of the 3rd. Holly Azevedo is the senior from San Jose, California, a 20-game winner on the year, and has to come in much sooner than expected.
Azevedo has a amazing changeup. She throws all of her pitches off that. It is a definite knee buckler. Does a very good job as well. Just a 29 free passes on the year, a ERA, a skosh over 1. She has had a breakout season.
Trying to cool off the hot Texas bats after the Mary Iacopo 2-run home run chased the starter Megan Faraimo, which matches her shortest start of the season, just 2 1/3. 4 runs on 6 hits. Here's the number 5 hitter, Katie Simmons, and the tradition here at the World Series, the parents get the home run ball, and the Iacopos on the receiving end there. Number 11 for Mary this year.
Favorite tradition here. So cool.
Senior out of Carson, California. They call her Mama Bear. Mama Bear's had some work to do this year because this was a team that has had its ups and downs and share of adversity. And they have put it all together at the right time. Simmons struck out her first at bat, and she'll strike out in her second. 2 down.
Boy, look at those 6 hits Faraimo gave up. She gave up just 4 against this Texas team in Clearwater, and getting that complete game victory. Big turnaround. The Horn seeing her the 2nd time this year.
Lauren Burke, a fly out to left back in the 2nd inning. Along with Iacopo, one of the former Oregon Ducks that followed Mike White to the 40 acres. the senior from Eugene. They've talked about using their experience, not UCLA, I've talked about Texas, because they have had a handful of players that have made postseason runs, a couple that have been in the World Series. And certainly all behind the leadership of Janae Jefferson, having a big impact for Mike White.
One of the players that have been here in Oklahoma City with Oregon, Mary Iacopo, one of them. Lauren Burke, who's up to bat right now, another. Said how much that helps this team as well, that veteran presence.
Well, you've talked about it, guys, the recognition and the statistical information now at the fingertips of these coaching staffs. Burke, that'll drop in for a base hit. But it's been the ability to swing and to make contact with that first pitch. 32% of the time, they're swinging at strikes on the first pitch during the regular season. 32%. Today, it's up to close to 50%.
Well, it's the first thing you're taught as a pitcher is attack the zone early, work from ahead. This is a pitch on the outside corner that Lauren Burke just goes and gets, dumps it right down in front of Gooden out in left field. And you can just tell it's kind of the, you know, the feel of the game, everything just going Texas's way right now after that challenge.
Courtney Day will fly out to left back in the second inning as Texas scores 4 here in the third and chases the starter, Megan Faremo. You see the frustration for Megan, who's waited all year to get back to this stage and sort of her redemption tour, and it's not the way she had hoped it would go.
Well, and Holly Rowe touched on it. You know, they mentioned it yesterday. I mean, Kelly Inouye Perez, you know, a former catcher, understands body language of pitchers. And she's like, I can tell when Megan Faremo is so amped. We saw her emotion earlier and even the super regionals. I mean, that's the type of player she is. They said the biggest thing with her, she's so talented, but trying to keep that adrenaline and energy down.
There's a 2-2 today. Pops it up. Washington has it. Side retired, but damage done by the Longhorns and the big bat of Mary Iacopo. Longhorns jump on top. Can the upset train keep rolling for the Longhorns? Some cat scratches, 4 of them for Texas. The NCAA Women's College World Series presented by Capital One. Look at the Hall of Fame Stadium complex here just outside of Oklahoma City. 8 teams are here and they're all vying for that championship trophy. UCLA has more than anybody with a dozen. Arizona, Oklahoma, and Florida, the other national champs that are here. And then you've got 4 teams looking for their first national title. In a sea of orange, Northwestern is there as well. Our first of 4, Oklahoma and Northwestern, are on deck. And then a doubleheader coming your way tonight. And Texas has jumped in front 4-0, powered by the 2-run home run off the bat of Mary Iacopo as we move to the bottom of the third. And a lead now to protect for Haley Dolcini. 9 then the top for UCLA.
Oh, look at the defensive alignment for Texas, really changing some things around. And this is Janae Jefferson. Look at where she's at. She's over in that shortstop position. So
no right fielder.
No right fielder.
Against the lefty slapper.
I love it. And I know as a hitter, and you got to understand too, it's a lot with the pitcher setup too. Haley Dolcini is going to be primarily away and guaranteed now. With no right fielder,
Yeah.
they're not going to come in. But they know how to challenge her. And this is something you see with a super shift. And they're challenging good and try to get around something.
Obviously something you see all the time now in Major League Baseball. You don't see this as much yet in softball, but times could be a-changing. With the 4-5 hole now on the same side as the 5-6 hole.
But it's like a reverse split of what you would see in baseball. Baseball shifts are
It's all to the
pull
right side.
Yeah.
Yes, all to the right side.
This is definitely something unique to softball.
Because of the
short game.
slappers, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because of the short
She
game.
wants to get that 5-6 hole where you see Alyssa Washington pulled into.
That's a fair ball. Scott has it at third, one down. We've talked about all the upsets this year in the regionals and the super regionals. The unseeded teams all time at the World Series have not fared all that well. JMU last year, the first unseeded team of the 9 previous to reach the semifinals. There has never been an unseeded team in the championship final. Texas, they told us yesterday, yeah, we kind of figured we'd be on the road. We didn't think we'd be going as far west as Seattle, but that, as they said, this is the path we have been given. And it ran through Seattle, and then through Fayetteville, Arkansas, and now here, 390 miles away from campus. Pulled by Kinsley Washington out to right center, and a one-out base runner.
Rise ball up and in, and Washington is just going to attack it. So instead of going away from the lefty, they come back underneath the hands, and Washington just deals with it, puts it back out on the green. Nice piece of hitting.
There's Bree Perez. Doubled her first time up and then got thrown out at home. Back in that first inning. Over 300 career hits for number 3, who's making her 260th start as a Bruin. This is her 37th time in an NCAA tournament game. She's a .350 hitter, by the way, in the postseason. Jefferson makes the tag and throws to first. Rock solid defense behind Dolcini.
Janae Jefferson doing what got him here, showing off the glove, tagging out a runner, double play, and the emotion of Texas continues. Dolcini loves it.
Welcome back to the Women's College World Series presented by Capital One, here with Texas coach Mike White. And you know, that was an interesting situation. They challenged the run rule, or the run scoring, and then Janae Jefferson. But how did your team really bounce back in that moment?
Well, I think we've been here before, and I suppose I was looking to see what I would do. But you know, it's just, I think it's another case for a safety base just to clear it up for the umpires. But we didn't let it get us down. We came back, we got the hits, we jumped down to a lead. So we're in a good position right now.
Super shift on the defense. How does that play into what you're doing with Haley Dolcini?
Yeah, we've been doing it this year, so we obviously got to work it outside a little bit. If you come in, it's got to be a pitch they can't really hit. So, but we play to our defense in that one.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Welcome.
Let's revisit that last inning, and it was a big one for Texas. How about the triple to score a run for Mia Scott? That was after the Jefferson play. And then with a runner on, Ayacopo goes downtown, her 11th of the season, the 50th of her career. 24-0. Longhorns. 24-4-1 this year when they score first in a ball game. They got 8 to the plate that last inning, so Katie Simmons 5, 6, and 7 due up. If you're curious about the tie in college softball, the getaway day on Sunday, sometimes there is a time limit when a team is on the road and they have to get to the airport to fly home. And so Texas did end up with a tie ball game today, or this year.
Well, and it's interesting. That's the game they said that was
the series with Minnesota.
Minnesota that changed the complexity of the season. They were down 5 runs, and they came back to tie that game up, and they felt like, wow, we can do this. We can come back. Because before that, they really had their struggles, leaving Clearwater 0-5.
They ended up having 15 comeback wins on the season. That was kind of their mantra.
Yep.
Of course, Mike White talked about, even heading into the postseason, let's just win ugly. He admitted, like, it ain't pretty most days. And this season, it hasn't been pretty, but we can win ugly too. And the thing is it hasn't been ugly
been
at all.
today.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, and even last weekend, like their defense, Smitty, you talked about it. That's been a huge factor for when they win or when they lose. Janae Jefferson, that big double play.
Well, and it's interesting, too, because the Big 12 tournament here, there was some controversy the way Coach White was ejected from the game. And really, since that moment, he's been very chill. And this team has done nothing but been on the rocket. And, you know, I find that interesting because at times he said when he brought Oregon here, he'd be too tense, and the team fed off him. He's been very relaxed.
I think that showed up in the Big 12 tournament. Like,
Absolutely.
way tense.
Agreed.
Getting ejected. Was lit a bit, and then it was almost good that it came then.
Yes.
Because now he's
been a completely different, head coach, and the team has just responded.
You were very kind using the word controversy, but it was a double bird full Eli Manning towards the umpires, and he had to apologize, and he has been ever since, and the team has been feeding off of that. Holly, what you got?
Well, guys, Mike White comes by that intensity for a good reason. He was a world-class softball pitcher. He was a men's fast-pitch player. He won 6 world championships, threw a perfect game in 1996. And he said, before games, this intensity just starts to build in me. It's from my playing days. I don't even know I'm doing it, and sometimes I can't help it. But his goal here is to be absolutely chill, because he learned from coming here and having disappointing tournaments with Oregon that his personality is what his team feeds on. So look for a chill Mike White.
Yeah, well, and he's got to be loving the crooked number on the scoreboard, because the problem at Oregon was they struggled to score runs when they got here. And one of the all-time great pitchers, as Holly referenced, tremendous success now at 2 programs.
And I love the way you cleaned up the controversy. Thank you, Beth.
double bird.
Throw down to first, and they get the speedy Bella Dayton 2 down. Excuse me, Laura Burke. Hey everybody, the NBA Finals start tonight at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on ABC and ESPN Radio. Don't miss Jason Tatum and the Celtics taking on Steph Curry and the Warriors. Game 1 coverage starts with NBA Countdown at 8:30 Eastern. Janae Jefferson back to the top. A line out and then called for interference, running down to first base her second time up. And Jefferson lashes one out to center. continues to swing a hot bat.
I mean, even her first at bat, lined out to center field, but look how beautiful her swing is. So simple, does really nothing with her stride just to get that front foot down, stays down, and literally just upper body drives the ball up the middle. That is what she's done her entire career. Most of her hits coming right down Broadway, up the middle.
That'll bring up Mia Scott, the RBI tripler last time up. Scott, another strong contact, and that will find the gap. They're going to wave home Jefferson. The throw to the plate won't get her. And Scott will advance to third, and they tag on another one.
How about Mia Scott in the tool hole, protecting Jefferson in front of Washington? She has just been outstanding. The freshman taking another pitch. This one, look at the rotation on it, but it is right down the middle, and she's going to drive that into the gap in the outfield. It gets past Maya Brady. Nice relay by UCLA, but the speed of Janae Jefferson coming all the way around from first base puts the 5th run of the game up on the board for Texas.
Single, double, triple for Mia Scott. She's driven in a pair.
Uh-oh, you know what that means.
Doesn't happen much in softball.
The only thing worse is a triple shy of a cycle, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Home run shy.
Your colleague Book Shambi loves that
Yes, yes. This should be a t-shirt. Washington drove in a run in the third. And now they have really put UCLA up against it. This is the second largest deficit they have seen all season. For the 5 seed coming in here at 48-8 on the year.
And had the second best ERA in the country.
Yes.
I mean, Holly Acevedo, Megan Faremo, I mean, what they've been able to do back to back all season long.
And Mia Scott, every one of her hits, first pitch swinging. At some point.
Good scouting report.
Yeah, throw a rise ball in
Yeah,
her
I
eyes.
was gonna
Yeah.
throw it behind her. Like,
Smitty would hit the ball at this point.
Yeah.
The significance of today, by the way, of course, last year, both teams that played for the national championship did lose their opener, but that is a rarity. 88% of the teams that reach the championship series win on opening day. And as we mentioned, the new format means if you keep winning, you keep getting a day off. Bree Perez, good range at short. Side retired, but another run in. 5-0 Texas.
Definition of a woman on a mission. You call me singing how you like me now, sipping on champagne.
And we welcome you back to the Women's College World Series. It's opening day from Hall of Fame Stadium. A crowd is filling in for game 1 of our 4 on deck. It's Oklahoma and Northwestern. And then another doubleheader coming up later tonight. Florida, Oregon State, and Oklahoma State, Arizona. 8 teams, double elimination. Change in the format means that the losers today will play tomorrow. The winners today get the day off. They will play on Saturday. Facing a 5-0 deficit, Delaney Wiz will start things off. 3-4-5 for the Bruins.
if you want a response, this is the hitter to do it. She's been their best hitter, really, I mean, all season long. She's batting .500 the last 2 weeks. Complete turnaround, too. She's a transfer from LMU and has had success, but this year has been their best.
We talked about the best batting average in the Pac-12 this year. They were second best scoring team, so they have the capabilities, but can they do it against Haley Dolcini?
to your point, Wiz, over 100 points higher this year than last year. I mean, she's just done so much, Jess, to put herself in that leadership role, hitting in that 3 spot.
The biggest difference has been her stride. She had none last year and going back, and now she has that high leg kick. And that's been the pitch. She said everyone was coming inside to me. I was getting around it, getting jammed on it, and then it got in my head. And I literally started flying my hips. And so by getting a higher leg kick, which usually you hear the reverse, you eliminate a leg kick. For her, getting that high leg kick that she now has forces her to get back on that back leg. Saw her tap it right there. And not rotate off that inside pitch.
Leads the Bruins this year with the .400 batting average, the most home runs, the most runs batted in. Skies it. Bella Dayton calling for it. 1 down.
And I think this is where UCLA is maybe pressing a little bit. That looked like ball 4 potentially to me. Maybe rise ball up out of the zone. Instead, it's you swing at that. It's first out of the inning instead of a leadoff walk.
Wiz has the best eye on the team.
Absolutely.
She understands ball to strikes, but you're right, that elevated adrenaline, you want to make something happen. You got 5 runs you're trying to catch.
Yep. I always felt so much better when I pitched with a lead. It's just, you feel like your opponents are starting to chase. It opens up the strike zone.
Maya Brady flew out to left in the first. 13 home runs, 46 runs batted in. Has seen her batting average bump up 40 points in the last couple of weeks.
Brady 0 for 5 against Dolcini in her career. Young career, but she has a great idea of how she's going to be pitched. They actually came inside to her a lot more than they did any of the other lefties. That was a huge plan of attack against Brady.
8 of 9 hitters for UCLA, left-handed, and Dolcini's really good with the lefties, really working that screwball away, but then will come underneath the hands, as you mentioned, Jess, and so she'll get you to reach for the screwball going away and then jam you up on the hands. A lot of that effective velocity.
Ball 4 to Brady. Holly?
Maya Brady has gotten so much better here in the postseason, and she admitted to us that coming into this season, a little bit of a sophomore slump. She said people had better video on me, the scouting reports were harder, and I had to adapt. So she got back to work. She has been coming in early, trying to get some front toss with Lisa Fernandez, who's really very specific. She tried to get back to her aggressive mindset, but a very patient at bat there to draw the walk. Maya Brady going to work.
Well, and Holly, she said the biggest thing, and I know this, you know this, Smitty, from playing with Lisa Fernandez, is it wasn't just front toss, it was every single pitch of front toss mattered, and she'd get on her like, come on, let's go, this is the count, this pitch matters, so she would understand the importance of every single pitch, emphasizing what she needed to work on.
And out of that work, out of that calmness, came a little bit more of her swaggy B. And she started a rally here for UCLA. Iacopo behind the plate and will collide with Mia Scott, who holds on. 2 down.
I don't think she called it either. I mean, Iacopo is going to go after that until she hears Mia Scott.
Yeah, the lips are not moving.
No, both of them are looking up. This is where you have to be really yelling, ball, ball, ball.
Yeah, then she gets face mask in the face, but
that's something too as a pitcher, right, Smitty? We saw Haley Dolcini actually looking up instead of looking down to help out her teammates and call one of them out, right?
Yeah, it's important, that infield communication. You're tight up against the fan, so there's crowd noise. Your opponent, you're going towards your opponent's dugout.
Pola grounded to first. Three hits, a couple of walks. They've had 5 base runners. The threat back in the first, but not much since.
Ball.
Right back to Dolcini, who will make the play over to first. 5-0 Texas, and look who's coming up, Jess.
Mary Iacopo had the huge home run, crushing it. It was Mama Bear against the Bruin Bears, and guess who's picking up a bat at the top of the 5th?
Welcome back to the Women's College World Series presented by Capital One. Here with UCLA coach Kelly Inouye-Perez. And coach, pitching has been your strength all season. What was the biggest challenge that Megan Faremo hit to get pulled after 2 1/3?
Oh, I think you got to more so give credit to Texas. You know, they came out and put the bat on the ball and came through with some pretty big at-bats there. You know, we're here because Megan Faremo and Holly have battled. We got to have their back and put some balls in play and have better at-bats at the plate to stay in this ball game.
What's the challenge in the circle or in the batter's box right now because of that screwball and Dolcini adding that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we've been able to have a whole season to see all different types of pitches. You know, the team that's going to be able to adjust and, you know, put ourselves in a position to be able to put some runs on the board. That's what we got to do. We are a team that, you know, historically throughout this season, we make adjustments. We get better throughout a game, so I'm going to rely on us settling in. It's getting a little later in the game, but I'd like for us to settle in and be able to have some quality at bats and string them together so we can put ourselves back in this ball game.
Sounds great. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you, Holly and Kelly I. And this could be a developing situation after that last play. Dolcini appeared to be hurt. This is going to skip off of her throwing hand and hit her right in the belly. Makes the play to first base, Michelle, but then immediately goes down. That look right there almost made it seem like the wind got knocked out of her.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I guess if there's a bright a bright note to that, it didn't hit her throwing hand.
Yeah. I think it just clipped her throwing hand, but mostly got her right in the gut.
Yeah, her core.
Dolcini seems to be okay. And here is Iacopo, the home run hitter from the 3rd inning, also singled in the 1st.
Look at this pitch location. This is what I love about Iacopo is that she takes a pitcher's pitch that's ready into her hands, and because she was looking for it, she gets the barrel to it. This was a no-doubter. Leader of this team. The emotion that Texas, too, has shown early on in this game from the get-go. She talked about, too, coming into this game and changing her barrel. Her ability to be able to understand and identify different locations and changing her barrel down versus up.
Three and one now to Mary.
Yeah, Texas being a lot more patient with Holly in the circle versus Faremo. They were really doing a good job of swinging at those first pitches that were close to the zone. But that's the changeup that Azevedo throws.
Holly and Mary had not seen each other prior, as Azevedo came in after the Iacopo home run. And Mary is on for the 3rd time with the leadoff walk here in the top of the 5th. Winner of this one will get the winner of our next game coming up. It's top seed Oklahoma and the 9 seed Northwestern. And they will meet Saturday afternoon. The 2 losers this afternoon will play tomorrow night. Pinch runner is Camille Corona. Iacopo can re-enter in college softball. You can get lifted for a runner once, but not twice, and come back. Katie Simmons Faremo struck her out, and then Azevedo struck her out. Pops it up left side. Mala'ulu. One down.
Now batting left fielder, 0-0, Lauren Burke.
Batting in the 6th spot, Lauren Burke.
Lauren Burke, who wasn't everyday starter for a bulk of the season, really got hot in the postseason. The bulk of her hits, and we saw that today, have come just down that left, just literally poking the ball, simple swing down that left field line.
Yeah, worked her way back into the lineup during the regionals where she had 4 hits. She had only had 4 hits in the 14 games prior to that.
So here's what you want. You want your team, your players getting hot in the postseason.
I like watching her read the defense. A lot of these 3-tool players that can do, swing away, slap, bunt. Obviously, she's getting a sign from Mike White, but she's also able to get the green light to identify what the defense is doing. So as she's showing bunt there, she's reading to see how the defense moves and then decides what she's going to do from that.
Perez giving chase, and then Gooden will come on. 2 down.
Now batting for Longhorns, number 15, Courtney Day.
Courtney Day, a fly out and a pop-up so far. After a 4-run third and then another run scored in the 4th, already the bottom of the lineup coming up for a 3rd time. Bottom of the lineup due up next for UCLA for the 2nd time. Here in the bottom of the 5th.
Well, Holly Acevedo has definitely come to this game and provided a different mix. Michelle, you mentioned her changeup, her best pitch, but she's going up and down and has gotten already 5 swing and misses. Texas hitters really just providing a variation of pitches. They knew exactly what to expect from Faremo, and they were all over it.
And the strikeout for Holly ends the inning. Her 2nd. We're going to the bottom of the 5th. The home of the Women's College World Series, Oklahoma City on opening day.
Welcome back to the Women's College World Series, where there is a major disturbance here in the stadium, and it's because the line to get an autograph from Kat Osterman is so long. Kat, of course, here supporting her Texas Longhorns, and Kat, keep signing, because I don't want to take away an opportunity from a young person. Tell me about what is important to see this Texas team doing so great on this stage where you've played.
You know, it's just great that they fought all year. They're back up here in OKC. This has been their dream to get Janae Haley Dolcini back here, and it's just been fun to watch them, and they've showed what Texas Fight is about all year long.
You yourself had your jersey retired, one of the greats to ever put on the burnt orange. What was that like for you today, this season?
It was a true honor. I mean, I think when you look at the Texas legends, you have Earl Campbell, Ricky Williams, Roger Clemens. I mean, big names that are household in male sports, and just to know that my jersey's up there with them, it's a huge honor. And I bleed burnt orange, so I was much appreciated, and obviously it was a great day all the way around.
Okay, before I let you go, 4-time All-American Janae Jefferson, you're the only other person that's done that. How proud are you of this young woman?
I'm so proud of her. After her sophomore year, I told her, I said, let's go, 2 more. Come on, join the club. And then obviously after last year, we talked about it again, and I've been on her all year, just like, hey, come on, you can do it, you can do it. But I'm super proud of her. She has shown loyalty to Texas. I mean, right now with the way the portal is, she could have left at any point in time, but her loyalty to Texas and just the way she's performed for 4 years, I'm so proud.
Thank you so much. All right, get back to your busy signing.
Thank you.
Janae, second team All-American this year for that 4th straight season with those All-America honors. Their career hits leader, best batting average in school history. She started the day 4 runs away from their all-time run scoring record, and now she's only 3 away from that. 7, 8, 9 coming up for the Bruins, down a 5 spot.
I feel like every year there's a story, and Janae Jefferson this year just kind of willing herself.
Diving grab made by Alyssa Washington, getting down in the dirt. 1 out.
Willing herself, willing her teammates, and this was a huge cog right here in the wheel for Texas, is getting Alyssa Washington into the shortstop position. Nice job coming forward. That's tough at times. Do you short hop it? Do you go after it on the fly? She goes after it on the fly, gets the leather underneath, and I love the fact that she puts that throwing hand on top so it cannot bounce out of her glove.
Well, you just saw, watching Holly's interview with Kat, the impact that Kat has had on softball and on Texas fans. Janae Jefferson having a similar situation with Alyssa Washington. She's a few years younger, out of Abilene, Texas. She wanted to be a Longhorn. She wanted to play with Janae. And now here they are right up the middle of the infield together. The Presidents.
I love that.
Well, that's what you're hearing more of too, is players that are fans of the current college game when they're 17, 18 years old, and then they get to go play. So the fact that Alyssa Washington, she's like, I was the biggest fan of Janae Jefferson. And they're the 2 up the middle. And share so much too, like talk a ton about, being after each other in the batting order, being around each other.
Yeah, and it makes a big difference. Mackenzie Parker had been at shortstop at times. It wasn't working out, so Coach moves Washington into that position, and the 2 of them as middle infielders just relate so well to each other.
Seneca Curro, the pinch hitter, drops down the bunt. Well fielded by Dolcini, 2 out.
And again, that's another play that Jefferson makes with ease. That's not an easy play because she's way up the middle. Look how far Jefferson has to come. She is way up towards second base. This is a bunt that is designed to try to beat out the second baseman to the bag, but Jefferson reads this immediately, sprints to the bag. Look at the way she calls to Dolcini. Give me the ball here before I get to the bag. That is just great communication. Really good job understanding the game.
In foul territory on the run, and the backhand for Burke, and a 1, 2, 3 inning. All Longhorns so far in the World Series opener.
The studio team has entered the chat. Courtney Lyle, Madison Shipman, Danielle Laurie, and guys, Texas back in the World Series for the first time since 2013. Welcome back, Longhorns.
We talked yesterday, how are these teams going to perform on this big stage? And Texas has come out with 0 fear.
If I get anything out of it, it is do not mess with Texas. Haley Dolcini, first Women's College World Series appearance, and she's doing great.
BMO, ladies, I got a segment idea. We've got You Got Mossed. How about You Got Janae?
Yeah.
How about that? I think we need to start it.
They are making the defensive plays, and Janae starting it all.
You got Janae. Head anywhere near
You got
her.
Janae.
I like it, Court.
We were trying to push Say Hey Janae after that over-the-shoulder Willie Mays style catch at Arkansas last week. That's still in the mix.
I think we just take to the Twitter and put a vote out there. Get a couple options going.
Say Hey Janae. Janae, you got Janae. Okay.
Got
Get
2.
that started. Head to head. You got more followers than me, though, so I think I'm in trouble.
Well, I don't have one of them. It's Court versus you.
8-9 and the top. Here's J.J. Smith. Couple of grounders to first. They have already taken out the 13-seed Washington, the 4-seed Arkansas. They did that in the regionals and the supers. And now looking for an upset of the 5-seed UCLA. That would mean that UCLA would have to come back tomorrow night and play the loser of Oklahoma Northwestern as it stands right now. Texas would have the day off and then play a winner's bracket game on ABC Saturday afternoon. Pretty cool today. There are 4 teams here that have won national championships. There are 4 teams here that are trying for their first, and they all go head-to-head. In each game, there's a former champ, and there's a hungry team looking for a first. Pretty cool. Parity has been the word of the postseason so far.
Parity, depth. I mean, this whole year you could kind of feel it. You could feel some of the upsets that were taking place, mid-majors as well as within the Power 5 conferences.
Been really good for the Pac-12 and the Big 12, as evidenced here. They each have 3 teams in OKC. Been a rough go for the Southeastern Conference. Just 1 team here, Florida. That is the fewest for the SEC in 15 years.
Well, I think no ACC teams. I mean, that was probably the biggest conversation coming in, and is how this was probably going to be the strongest ACC year that we've seen. A possibility of maybe 3 teams, at even 4 that could have made it.
Yeah, you look at Duke and Clemson, right, the new programs, but Virginia Tech and Florida State, I mean, those are the ones that...
Seminoles bounced in the regional.
Yeah. I mean, those are 2 teams
as a
that...
3 seed.
Yeah, and a lot of us were talking about potentially Champ Series matchups with Oklahoma or UCLA. It was.
They were in the finals a year ago. Boy, the trend of the last 2 seasons too. We've always just assumed if you stay at home for the Supers, you're in great shape. Well, not the last 2 years.
Yeah. Well, and I think part of that too is these Power 5 conferences do a really good job of playing on the road against tough opponents, and it seasons them. It gets them used to going into hostile environments. That's why most of the conferences did go to those, 3-day, 3-game series to emulate a super regional matchup.
Yeah, Texas was not phased in Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Base hit out to left for J.J. Smith. Another Longhorn on base to start out an inning.
And that's some 2-strike hitting, too. I mean, the 3-2 count, nice job of taking a pitch in the outside corner. This is what J.J. Smith has done a nice job of. She'll take some big hacks early in counts, but when she gets to 2 strikes, she understands, I'm just trying to plop this ball into the grass, get myself on base.
Yeah, I've been impressed with the way Texas has hit the down ball. That's a drop ball. They just revert. They get down into it and kind of reverse that spin and shoot it out as a line drive. It's just pretty. And you mentioned it earlier, Jess, just very quiet, like not a real big leg kick, just, not over swinging, just barreling up balls.
Alyssa Popelka is the runner at first. J.J. Smith can re-enter. There have also been some defensive changes this inning. That's Alyssa Garcia, the new catcher. The former catcher, Delaney Wiz, now at third base. Seneca Curro out in right field. Savvy Pola will stay in the lineup as the DH, as the hit and run was on there. Dayton singled, stole a base, scored back in that big 4-run 3rd inning. The transfer from Arizona could meet up with her former mates. Wildcats are playing tonight against Oklahoma State. There's a few of those fun little storylines here. And of course, there's also a chance that the 2 sisters could square off. Miranda Elish at Oklahoma State, sister Maddie at Arizona. Both pitch. Miranda also hits. Would expect that one would be Hannah Bowen against Kelly Maxwell to start.
All the young cubs gathered around Mama Bear.
See what you did there.
Just tell the way they look to her.
Popelka goes, and she'll swipe a base as the ball got away from Garcia. Runner in scoring position now. Don't forget the top of the order, Janae Jefferson coming up next.
Popelka with a good jump. Garcia's thrown out 2 runners this year. This is a rise ball, and she can see it just pops out of her glove, probably looking and hearing the runner going before making that grab of the pitch.
18th stolen base in a row without getting caught for the Longhorns.
Longhorns lead the nation in doubles, but it's really, I think the story is the speed, the way they've been able to create some havoc. They steal bases, and then they put the ball in the gap.
What's that? That's number 94 on the season. Only Florida has more. Holly Rowe giving a thumbs up to the nice grab down there in the photographer's bay.
Give her a glove.
You know, she wasn't quick. She wasn't quick to go after that, was she? That's because she's got a big story coming up. Stick around, folks.
I see something in her hand.
Stick around. Here's the 3-2 to Dayton. Dayton, good swipe at it. Back it goes, and it's gone. Fifth of the year for Bella. And that brings a couple more home.
You know it's going well for Texas. The offense is exploding. And your 9-hitter, Bella Dayton, the 9 spot, does a nice job going low and away, actually getting around this off-speed pitch. Drives it. Seneca Curro, the right fielder for UCLA, was actually playing in because Bella Dayton, not a ton of power. You mentioned it, Beth, just the 5th home run on the season, but it's a big one. Horns up 2 more.
This is a confident bunch right now. Playing this whole postseason with a little chip on their shoulder. Second home run of the ball game for the Longhorns, and that makes it 7-0. And we've got the second pitching change of the day now for UCLA. The left-hander Lauren Shaw will come on for Azevedo. 4 runs in the 3rd, another in the 4th, and now Bella Dayton, 2-run home run. And what a day so far for the Longhorns. Beth Mowens along with Jessica Mendoza and Michelle Smith. Couple of long balls. The confidence that they have really, and it's been the chemistry, right, guys? On the road this entire postseason, it's really brought them together.
Yeah, we got the pleasure of being able to see them in Supers last year. Going into Fayetteville last week, Fayetteville, Arkansas, and for them to be able to just bring in so much emotion, offense, and honestly, the biggest weakness all year, the defense, that's actually what's been shining.
Yeah, it's been shining, and it's helped really accelerate their offense as well. This is a team that you can tell right now they're playing with a us against the world mentality. Their fans are here, and they've just been really a lot of fun to watch.
Haley Dolcini, too. I mean, just to see what she's done. I mean, you think about her career and coming from Fresno State, coming into this team just 5 months ago, and really one pitch, that screwball. Right now, keeping UCLA off the board.
And remember, too, Texas has never beaten UCLA here at the Women's College World Series, but they're in awfully good shape right now. In fact, flirting with a run rule situation. If they can get one more in, that would put UCLA into its final at-bat in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Now batting second base, number 2, Janae Jefferson.
So Lauren Shaw, the lefty transfer from Iowa, will face Janae Jefferson. Singleton scored in the 4th. The gloveless Holly Rowe standing by. Holly?
Ta-da.
Yes!
I wanted to share with you the Janae Jefferson vision board. She created this in January, and I am just remarkably surprised by every single thing on here that she has been able to accomplish. Things like get straight A's, which she did. Go to the Women's College World Series, which she has done. Everything she's put on this board, be a 4-time All-American, only the 2nd in history. She did it. Almost every single thing she put on this vision board in January, she has been able to accomplish. She is a believer in me. I've got craft supplies back at the hotel. We'll all be making vision boards for the rest of the week. Great job, Janae.
I love it.
Well, just to be able, you hear it all the time. You got to see it to be it. To be able to actually visually put up your goals. And I love the photos, all the different things. You saw Kat Osterman there on the board, understanding greatness. I want to see Holly Rowe's vision board.
She
She
is
already got an
driven.
Emmy.
Congratulations to our Holly Rowe, Emmy Award winner this year.
I remember seeing Janae Jefferson as a freshman. Connie Clark had recruited her to Texas, and when I saw her play, I knew immediately. I was like, this kid is going to be epic in her career.
Slow roller down to first. Jefferson is retired, 1 out. Yeah, Connie Clark brought Texas here on 5 previous occasions. Connie, a former national champ herself from her playing days. And now Mike White in his 4th season. Well, the problems that they sometimes had when he came here with Oregon, not a problem today. This is the most runs that Texas has scored in a game in their World Series history. Mia Scott legs it out. She's safe at first and will head to second. Looking for third. On her way, Mia Scott. On all 4 times she's come up today.
Just so much speed. Lauren Shaw is going to throw this away. It's a hard play for a lefty on the spin, but the speed of Mia Scott gets her all the way back to third. She just needs to put a tent over there at third. She's been camping out there all day today. It's going to be a single and an error on the pitcher.
She did not get the memo that she only needed a home run for the cycle, and instead, well, maybe she was going for the inside the Parker. That may have actually been a better chance for Mia, not necessarily the power hitter. Boy, what a day for her to remember. Single, double, triple, another base hit. This is huge. This is huge now, by the way. If Washington gets her home, Texas can try and run rule UCLA at the World Series for the first time since 1997. That's the last time the Bruins were run ruled here in OKC. They will try and defend against that run. Scott headed for home, trying to dive underneath the tag and does not. They get her out at the plate. Meanwhile, Washington rambled all the way around to third.
So the rundown. You can see the way that the throw comes high. The tag is basically on her legs.
Yeah, I think Shaw was able to hold on.
Yeah, I think she's out at home. Yep. You know what? And great base running, because what this happened, because Washington got all the way to third base, this ends up being the out it would have been anyway. you're just basically switching the runners, if that makes sense, because Washington would have been thrown out at first. The runner would have stayed at third, but instead, Washington comes all the way around third, and that's a huge credit to Mia Scott for staying in that rundown long enough to get Washington to third base.
So UCLA won a review and got it changed earlier in the game. Now Texas will, I believe, call for the review, because now that we're in the 6th inning, the umpires can also go on their own. Something new this year, we have a video review booth. The coaches each have 2 challenges per game, and then the umpires can also go themselves late in a game to make sure they get the call right with so much at stake. Call on the field is out at home. So we are going to bring in our rules analyst, Christy Cornwell. Christy?
Well, there are a lot of different elements in this play. We want to be sure that the tag actually happened. Did the tag happen before the runner touched home plate? And there's a question on this play about whether or not the player maintained contact of the ball after applying the tag. So there's 3 different elements that the crew is going to be looking at on this play.
It appeared that tag grazed her thigh before her fingertips got to the plate, and there you see Shaw does hold on.
And this is interesting play as well, because this is the pitcher, Shaw. She's left-handed, so you see the way she has to catch and pull down, but because of the way UCLA ran this rundown and the throw coming back across the line.
Can we keep Christy's mic open? Christy, is there any thought of obstruction there with Shaw where her foot is placed?
Well, they're going to clear that when they go to review. It looks to me like her feet were fine, and once she had possession of the ball, then there was contact, which is legal by rule. Oh, then she's straddling, and then she comes back. She's obstructing, and then she gets out of the way, and then she gets the ball. So that's one thing that the replay crew will have to take a look at.
How does that work? Can you be in a position of obstruction, and then as long as you get out of the way without contact, you can...
You can. It would be an element of timing on that.
Okay.
So if they get out of the way soon enough not to impede the runner, then that might be cleared as no obstruction.
Christy Cornwell, our rules analyst, she will be with us throughout the World Series, and I think they're ready to make the call here.
Okay, ruling on the field is going to be upheld.
Well, you heard him say the ruling will be upheld. The runner, Scott, is out at home, and Washington will be at third base with 2 outs. And here comes the home run hitter, Mary Iacopo. Do you bother with Mary, or do you walk her here? And pitch to the youngster, the freshman Simmons.
I mean, either intentionally or unintentionally, but I mean, it drops off a bit after Iacopo. I mean, the top 4 in this lineup, you could really argue it's them in Oklahoma that have the best top 4 hitters in the country and what they've been able to produce, especially these last 2 weeks.
The top 4 have all scored. 3 of the 4 have driven in runs. Iacopo 2 for 2, walked her last time up. Takes a look at a strike from Shaw. One on one. One, 2 to Iacopo. If she can get this run home, they have a chance in the bottom half of the inning to rule the Bruins.
Going right at Mary Iacopo. I'm kind of surprised they're not throwing around her a little bit. Katie Simmons right behind her is 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. Yeah. They do have her in a good pitcher's count in the hole, but still. The odds would tell you.
Yeah, go for who's on deck.
Yeah.
Grounder to third. Whiz over to first, scooped by Washington. Side retired. 7-0. 2 more on the board from Bella.
Bella Dayton out of the 9 hole is going to crush an outside pitch. Her 5th home run of the year. 2 more big runs up on the board for the Horns. They're up 7-zip.
The NCAA Women's College World Series is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Big day for Texas and a 7-0 lead over UCLA as we check out the game track. A couple of home runs, one for Mary Iacopo, one for Bella Dayton. Mia Scott, a single, a double, a triple, and then another single, her 4th time up. Still a home run away from a cycle. And for the Bruins, boy, a rough one. They are not usually in this position. And Texas has put them there. They will have 2 more chances in the bottom of the 6th and the 7th. And this is where it will have to start. Top of the order, Kinsley Washington, Bree Perez, Delaney Wiz. All 3 have a hit so far.
Dulcini has been so effective with her pitch count. Look at that in the bottom of the 6th, just 63 pitches. She only has the 1 strikeout, the first batter of the game, Washington on a screwball. Just efficiency. Couple 1, 2, 3 innings. Expanding the zone.
Knocked down by Dulcini, and that will allow Washington to get aboard. Leadoff is on.
And this is the 2nd hard ball hit right back up the middle. It's an outside pitch that normally comes right back up the middle at pitchers. So it's that screwball, it's elevated, it's a little bit more scry, so up and away, hit hard right back at Dulcini. Off her glove, but no opportunity for Washington to get Washington at first.
In for a strike to Perez, doubled in the 1st. We got thrown out at home, and then her 2nd time up hit into the double play.
Yeah, looking back on that early rally too. I mean, Bree Perez had the double in the gap. Delaney Wiz singled, and you kind of felt the rally coming. Maya Brady up to bat, but Bree Perez, and I get it was early, but sent home on a ball that she shouldn't have been thrown out.
Popped it up. Jefferson coming all the way across the diamond and took what should have been Scott's ball right there, but at least she was calling for it.
And Mia Scott did back out of the way. She was probably surprised. She's like, who is that? This is my territory. She's laughing at it now, but I mean, look at where the location of this is. And Janae Jefferson called it early and often. Mia Scott's like, all right, I'll get out. You want it? You can have it.
Delaney Wiz. Singled in the 1st, then flew out to center field in the 4th. Wiz sends that one back, and that's out of here. And the Bruins aren't done yet. 2-run home run, Delaney Wiz.
Well, we've seen a lot of screwballs from Haley Dulcini. It's a pitch that's up and away. This one's just up. Look at the location, middle, but top of the zone. And Delaney Wiz, who's been the best hitter, the hottest hitter, especially these last 2 weeks, all she does is meet it to greet it out of here, and that is then Delaney Wiz being kind of the spark plug for this Bruins offense that really needs it here in the 6th inning.
13th and 14th RBIs of this NCAA tournament for Delaney. That's the most of anybody in the country. And that makes it 7-2.
First pitch was a changeup to Wiz. She lays off it and then is still fast enough to catch up to that pitch up in the zone.
Well, I think she was sitting all the way screwball, which got her barrel on that right path for what ended up being just a rise ball down the middle.
15th home run of the year.
Nobody beats the Wiz. That's been good stuff from her family. Of course, they were here previously with Delaney's sister Stevie, a part of their 2019 national championship team. Our best wishes to Stevie on a speedy recovery. And now Mike White will come out to talk with Haley Dolcini. Holly Rowe telling us in our ears that Sophia Simpson has been warming up out in the bullpen if they need to go to her. Of course, the Bruins do have a little history with Haley from her Fresno State days. They rallied to beat her and the Bulldogs in a regional matchup a year ago. Simpson checking it out. To Brady. How much gas is in the tank? Haley has not thrown a whole lot during the week. Last 2 weeks, really, other than in the games, and that's why. Over 600 pitches now in this, her 6th appearance of the postseason.
Well, and remember, that doesn't include a full game that she didn't throw, game 3 against Arkansas. So, I mean, just a massive load.
Watch Maya Brady this at bat too. Her front foot literally stepping out of the batter's box towards that screwball.
Brady pops it up by a Copo, ran out of space.
That one they recognized came inside. So these Bruin hitters trying to cheat a little bit, saying, okay, we're gonna come attack you. Brady has seen 13 pitches, only 3 of them have been strikes.
Got her to pop it up again. Does Mary have space?
Challenging her under the hands, more with the rise ball than the screwball going away.
Well, before those last 2 pitches, I was saying now she's not stepping out of the box. Her first 3 pitches, I mean, she was literally almost stepping on home plate. Like, you want to throw me outside with that screwball? Like, I'll come get you. And now they're smartly changing it up a little bit, coming in under the hands.
Brady, this one will be playable. Jefferson back on the grass, on the chalk, 2 down. We've talked about the importance of winning your opening game at the World Series. Now, mind you, last year, Oklahoma, they became just the 4th team in 40 years to lose their first game and come all the way back to win the national championship. So if you stumble out of the gate, it's a long way back in this double elimination format.
You have to have arms in the circle. You have to have an offense that'll put big runs up on the board.
Especially this year with the new format.
Yes.
The losing teams have to come right back. You could be 2 in BBQ within 24 hours.
Yep.
I like the idea of rewarding the teams that keep winning. You keep giving them a day off leading into the Champ Series.
Yeah, because last year when Oklahoma lost that first game to JMU, they didn't play till Saturday. They had Friday off. You kind of right the ship. You get everything going in the right direction again. This year, you lose today, you're immediately playing tomorrow night. Not a lot of recovery time for your pitchers if you are relying on one arm.
Yeah, I like the new format. I mean, it rewards the winners, and especially after this big opening day Thursday. I mean, you see the teams after losing game 1, Oklahoma, as you mentioned, last year, the other 3, Florida State, UCLA did it, as we talked about, against Texas coming back through, and then against Cal to win the championship. Texas A&M in '93. Just does not happen often.
Winners and losers of this game will match up with the winners and losers of Oklahoma Northwestern. That's coming up next. There's a rocket right back up the middle. Garcia is aboard.
It's the third time through the lineup. UCLA making some great adjustments. That's a pitch that is low. You can see the screwball work and spin on that, but it's just a little bit too close to the plate. Garcia goes across and hits that outside pitch right back up the middle.
Pinch runner is Lauren Carter, who will come on to run. Garcia can re-enter. This is Savannah Pola. Started out the game as the right fielder and is now the DP. Grounded to short. He'll go the short way for the third out. 2-run home run for Delaney Wiz, but it's still Texas on top to the 7th.
All right, let's take a look at the Capital One rewarding performance. And hello, Mia Scott. I mean, have yourself a day. She got it on early with the drag. Just missed a home run by about a quarter inch, but it's okay. She got herself a triple. Then comes up her next at bat in the gap, a double. And she kept on doing, went back to the drag, but kind of wanted her to go for the home run to get the cycle. But 2 singles, a double, and a triple ain't bad. For your first day here in Oklahoma City, Mia Scott showing the power, the speed. She does it all.
This is her debut here, as it is for most of these Longhorns. Despite the transfers, this is their first time back here since 2013. Bella Dayton, a home run, 2-run shot. Mary Iacopo, a home run, 2-run job. Simmons, Burke, and Day due up. And then for UCLA in the bottom of the 7th, their last chance, they would have to get something started with the bottom of their order. Mia 4 for 4. 4 hits on 4 pitches. That's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Beauty of it, too, for Texas the last few weeks. A little somebody different every time. Jefferson and Washington and Simmons had the big hits in their Game 2 Supers win over Arkansas. Alyssa Washington and Mary Iacopo getting it done to get them here in Game 3 in Fayetteville.
The one thing they've done really well is they've had really big innings where they put a crooked number up, where they pass the bat, they pass, and they talk about that, to continue to pass the bat to their teammates. It's when they get on a roll, they are tough to shut down.
Simmons draws the walk. That's what we got on deck for you. They are the only 2 Power 5 teams that won their regular season to advance to this Women's College World Series. Champs of the Big Ten, Northwestern, champs of the Big 12, Oklahoma. How did the Sooners respond? The last time they played on this field was in the Big 12 championship game, and that was a loss to Oklahoma State. One of just 2 losses on the season. One to the Pokes and one to these Texas Longhorns. As you see, the Wildcats coming into the house. They were road winners in the desert at Arizona State. Took 3 games to do it, and they got it done. Danielle Williams, another pitcher who's been throwing till her arm falls off. We anticipate she would get the start today, probably against Hope Troutwine. Throwdown goes out to center field.
The runner, Lou Gilbert, kind of deked her. She took about 4 or 5 hard steps like she was going. Actually, only 3 or 4. Someone yelled going out of the Bruin dugout.
There's Lou, the pinch runner at first.
And we've kind of just seen UCLA off from what we've seen, pretty much throughout the regular season. A lot of the success that they've had. It started with Megan Farimo, who's been their ace, just not getting any swing and miss, getting hit up early in this game. We saw 2 defensive errors early.
Burke waits on the off speed. They get the lead at second. Gilbert retired 1 down. Here is one of the things that's at stake. Texas has never beaten UCLA at the Women's College World Series. They last met back in 2006. They had that epic 2003 semifinal showdown when the Bruins beat Texas twice on the same day. The iconic Natasha Watley slide into home off the Caitlin Bainey hit. But Texas looking to end that drought. It's been a good run for Texas athletics, hasn't it, Holly?
Well, that's right. In the last 3 days, they have won 3 national championships. I'm not sure what's going on in Austin, but the Texas teams are red hot right now, and softball just wants to get some of that good championship mojo.
Yeah, how about men's golf, rowing, and the women's tennis team? Burnt orange natties this week. Softball team looking for their first trip to a champ series, their first trip home with a trophy. This is a good first step as it stands. So far, the chill Mike White has had a very positive impact on his team. They've been very chill as well, as Holly reported earlier.
You gotta trust your players, trust the process. You get here and it's almost like the coaching has to be more minimal. It's what you were doing throughout the regular season, what you were doing honestly in the off season. It's to prepare for these moments, and the more that you try to be intense or honestly something you weren't earlier, your players start to freak out.
And they've been through the fire, 0-5 in Clearwater. And they've recovered. They realize they survive.
Safe. They get the lead runner again, 2 down. You guys have played in an Olympic game or two. What was your strategy on how to deal with, trying to be at your best in the biggest moments?
I think a lot of times it's just remaining focused on the fundamentals of the sport and not worrying about the environment that you're in. It's the game is the same game that you played when you were in high school and Little League and college and the Olympic level. And sometimes if you make the environment too big, even when you do step on that field, it's hard. And we see that pitchers throw through their spins, hitters swing at pitches out of the zone.
I don't care what you do, the nerves are going to be there. I mean, Olympics, here at the Women's College World Series, for you to come in and think I'm going to be calm and then everything's going to be the same, I think you're kidding yourself. Like, you walk in there and I think it's just embracing that. Being like, guess why I'm nervous? Because this is amazing. Billie Jean King always said pressure is a privilege. The reason you feel all this emotion is because you care. So the more that you embrace that instead of running from it and being like, oh my gosh, I've never felt this way, that's why you're here. That's why there's all these fans. Like, it's okay. Just don't freak out.
I'm Beth Mullins, along with our Olympic gold medalist Jessica Mendoza, Michelle Smith, our Hall of Fame Stadium reporter Holly Rowe, reminding us too that Mike White stressed with his team, do ordinary.
Yep.
You know what? You can make the spectacular if you have to, but focus on doing all the ordinary stuff really well.
In the games that they've won in this postseason, they have. They've had the timely hits. They've made the ordinary defensive plays.
One-two pitch. Smith delivers. And wisely slamming on the brakes was Courtney Day. She thought about it and then realized that's going to be a step or two too many with the arm out there in right.
But I love the aggressive turn because she recognized no one was on second base. So what she was doing is making a hard turn around second after this hit. See the off-speed pitch there. J.J. Smith having herself a day. Her second hit, finding grass. But I love the aggressive base running we've seen from Texas. Coming all the way around, and guess what? It forces a throw. That gets away. You end up on third.
Bella Dayton, a single and a 2-run home run today for the number 9 hitter. Takes a look at a strike from Shaw. Bruins in the bottom half of the inning. Vines, Malulu, and Gooden do up.
Mike White's getting everybody in this game.
He'll get another pinch runner on. That'll give us a chance to look at that home run swing from Bella.
Bella's going to take this pitch. It's low. She just goes down and gets it. It's her 5th home run of the year. 2-run shot out of the 9-hole. Look at that energy and excitement. Her teammates meeting her at home plate.
Oppo. Gooden's got a beat on it and gets there. Side is retired. Last chance for UCLA, bottom of the 7th. The opener at the Women's College World Series. Coleman goes opposite. Back goes Muggs to the track and it's gone. And a strikeout for Juarez.
G. Juarez is using all her tools.
A record-breaking run for Oklahoma, capped with a 5th national championship. Last year, the best offensive season for a team in the history of the game, and a 5th title for Oklahoma. They are looking for a 5th in the last 9 years coming back here this season, trying to go back-to-back, and what a decade of dominance it has been. They added another Big 12 title for their 10th in a row this season. And they've got 2 of their conference mates here, Texas and Oklahoma State. right alongside of them. The Sooners and the Wildcats of Northwestern coming up next. Anna Vines trying to lay down the bunt, one down, and they're down to their last couple of outs.
How about Dulcini with the bare hand grab? Impressive. Fielding her position.
Yeah, because they kind of went after her.
Yeah.
I always tried to bunt it to the pitcher.
What are you
Especially
saying, Jess?
a lefty.
What are you
Especially a lefty.
saying, Jess?
Harder. Gotta concentrate on it.
Yes.
Speaking of lefties,
Yes.
how about Danielle Williams in the circle coming up next? Probably the best lefty in the country, along with Kelly Maxwell this year.
Yeah, I would say.
She's coming up later.
Yeah, best changeup
Oh, okay.
in the country.
How will that affect the Oklahoma hitters, the top home run hitting team in the country, led by Jocelyn Allo?
It's going to be a great matchup.
Winner of that one gets the winner of this one. And the Saturday winners bracket, the two losers this afternoon will square off tomorrow night in an elimination game. All part of the new format. Oh. 88% of the teams that win on Thursday, they end up being teams involved in the championship series. You, if at all costs, do not want to have to fight out of the losers bracket, although the caveat is both teams in the finals did it a year ago, but it's a rarity.
I do think it'll be interesting once we look back on this World Series to see how the new format affects teams.
Seneca Curro, and drifting over is the new right fielder Lou Gilbert. 2 down, and the pinch hitter here will be Megan Faremo. Perhaps looking for something a little positive to take into tomorrow's game as it stands. Megan got the start today, but did not get through 3 innings. And this is something that she's been doing a little bit more of late, is picking up the bat.
A lot of times she's in this DP role, so she can kind of flip into an opportunity like this to hit. She did it last weekend in Supers, ended up coming up with a huge game-tying hit.
Just expands your lineup when you have pitchers that are able to swing the bat.
Well, and remember, she's also hitting for Kelly Gooden, where we saw that dramatic shift against her. It felt like they can go something a little bit different. Down to their last out.
There's Jocelyn Allo leading the way. They have Hope Troutwine, Nicole May in the circle, and the breaking news from our interviews with Oklahoma, Patty Gasso told us yesterday that they do believe at some point Jordy Ball will pitch in this World Series. Now, what that means is yet to be seen. But Ball, their ace, who's been out the last couple of weeks with an arm injury, may make an appearance, may do more than that in the coming days. Horns are on their feet, down to 1 more strike. Got her. Ball game, Texas. And another upset for the Longhorns as they beat the 5-seed UCLA, scoring the most World Series runs in their history and a 7-2 victory.
And how about Dulcini? She strikes out the first batter of the game, she strikes out the last batter of the game, and in the middle, her defense helps her out. And obviously her offense put some big runs up on the board.
Yeah, Mia Scott having herself a day. Mary Iacopo, her 50th career home run. She catches this last strike from Dulcini. Striking out the starting pitcher for UCLA, Megan Faremo, who came in to pinch hit, but this was all Texas. 7 runs, 4 of them early coming in the third.
So Texas moves into the winner's bracket, UCLA into the loser's bracket. The Bruins will have an elimination game tomorrow night against either Oklahoma or Northwestern. The winner of that game would square off with Texas Saturday afternoon, 3 Eastern on ABC. A 4-run third inning, and that was plenty, led by Mary Iacopo. A 2-run shot and a no-doubter off of the senior's bat. And she is down on the field with Holly Rowe.
Well, a big upset here to start your Women's College World Series. What has happened with this team to come together at the biggest moments of your season?
I think we just wanted to do it for each other. A lot of people counted us out in February in Clearwater, especially playing this team, so hats off to our team for just pulling it together.
You came up to the plate with a big swing. What did you see on that pitch that went over the wall?
Curveball. I was sitting inside and crossing my fingers. I was just going to swing away, so if it was over my head, I was screwed.
You did a great job at the plate, too. In the first inning, you saved a run from coming in. Tell me about that tag. You got her on the hand before it could touch the plate.
Bella has a hell of an arm, so I'm proud of our outfield for just trusting me and making that tag. So shout out to our outfield. Let's get the next one.
All right, winner's bracket. Sounds good for you, right?
Day off. That's all we're playing for.
Thank you.
Thanks, Holly.
Thanks.
Yeah, the home run and the nice defensive play. Bella Dayton also the home run and the arm on that to Mary Iacopo. Mia Scott, a 4-hit day for the freshman in her World Series debut, and it is a 7-2 win for Texas over UCLA, and they do indeed have that day off tomorrow. And we'll watch to see who their opponent will be coming up next with Oklahoma and Northwestern. Stick around, we've got 7 innings live headed your way. All the latest information you need to get you through this opening day at the Women's College World Series. We will be back shortly for the top-seeded Sooners and number 9 Northwestern. Now to the 7 innings live studio with Courtney, Danielle, and Madison.